Welcome to MTG Owners. My name is Matt. Today we're going to be doing a deck tech of Kalamax, the Stormsire for Commander. You probably heard of this guy if you play Commander in old Magic the Gathering. It's a 4-mana teamer elemental dinosaur. And we're just going to go through all the cards in my deck and we're going to talk about them a little bit briefly. I'm trying to make this sort of quick, but I also want to get across the point of this deck, how it rolls a little bit, and how much fun it is. Alright, so first of all, let's just look at Kalamax. He's just a 4/4 for 4, which is a decent body. But his main thing is whenever you copy a spell, he gets a +1/+1 counter. And if he's tapped and you play your first instant each turn, including each opponent's turn, you copy that spell. So you want to get him tapped, play an instant, get a copy, get some +1/+1 counters on him. And that's where the deck really turns on. But I tried to make it in a way where, well, Kalamax is a little fragile. He doesn't have any natural protection on him. Once people kind of get an idea of what your deck does, they tend to try to kill him very quickly. So kind of a powerful deck. And now my themes here for this deck are elementals, instants of course, and cascade. So you're going to see a lot of elementals, instants, and cascade. Sorry for the shadow. I tried to get my lights in a way where it won't shadow, but it's doing it anyway. So whatever, I'm going with it. We're getting her done. Alright, so there it is. Elementals, cascade, instants. Keep that in mind with the old Kalamax. Alright, what do you guys want to look at for it first? The stack of instants, or the stack of elementals, or the stack of other things that go with it, or the one planeswalker? Okay, another thing about this deck is there are 0 enchantments and 0 artifacts, and that is intentional. I could maybe put 1 or 2. But part of the point of that is your opponents will be sitting with no removal to use against you, and hopefully they'll use all their artifact enchantment removal on your other opponents. Yada yada. Okay, so that's the commander. Screw it, let's just dig in. Oh, there's also a bit of landfall. There's a bit of a landfall trigger, too. Landfall trigger stuff. Alright, let's talk about the elementals first. It is the smaller of these two stacks. There's tons of instants, as you can see. Maybe we will talk about the instants first. These are sort of the bread and butter with Kalamax. The elementals are just bonus, and same with Cascade. Alright, so we got some ramp. There's old Haro. If you can get double cast this, you still only sack 1 land. You get 4 lands untapped. This is an insane thing to be able to copy. It's amazing. Force of Vigor, because why not? You can destroy up to 4 things with the tapped Kalamax, but even getting 2 is pretty good. You gotta have it. Force of Vigor is one of the strongest removal, artifact enchantment removal spells. Rolling Regrowth. If you can manage to double this, well, you do have to sack a land on resolution. Not quite as good as Haro, and they do come into play tapped, but it's the next best thing. You can still net 4 lands. Well, I guess you net 2 lands after the sack, but it gets a lot out of your deck. Not bad. Another instant one. Can get you a lot of lands. Of course, Lightning Bolt. You got to have Lightning Bolt. You know, it's just a lot of damage. If you get copied, it's a lot of damage for 1 mana. It's really nice. End of the story. It often gets pretty cheap pretty quickly, and to be able to copy this is super nice. Another instant that's and you'll see as I go through these that some of these, you know, if you don't have the card or if you like something else better, there's other, like maybe an X draw spell like Pull from Tomorrow or something that could replace things like this. But these are the ones that I went with. I really like this 4 mana to draw 4, which turns into 8, is pretty insane. You can't hardly beat that. Alright, we got Narset's Reversal. This card is really tricky, a bit more of an advanced card, but this is busted in this deck. If Kalamax is tapped, you get 2 copies of Narset's Reversal. The first one, you, it's kind of confusing to word it. Hopefully I'll say this right. The first one, you target their spell, right? Then you get a copy of Narset's Reversal that's going to resolve first. So you make that copy target Narset's Reversal, giving you yet another copy of Narset's Reversal that you once again target their spell with. So when you copy Narset's Reversal with the copy of Narset's Reversal, you use the original one to hit the spell you intended to hit, and then you bounce this one back to your hand with the copy from Kalamax. So this becomes something you can use over and over with Kalamax. It's a little tricky. Hopefully that makes sense. But I believe that's how it works. Alright, we got Rapid Hybrid. You gotta have it. You gotta have it. Nice blue removal. Growth Spiral. Another thing you just gotta have. Excellent to copy. And super early game greatness. Reverberate. Now, this is basically Fork. Super amazing. You get to double copy. So you can copy an instant or sorcery. If you copy this, you can just target the same thing again. and get 2 of whatever. Now, ideally, you want to copy like a ramp spell early game that your opponent's using. So you get the ramp, super nice, because it doesn't stop their spell, it just gives you a copy. You can copy your own. There's a lot of options with this. If you double it, you get even more. It's just insane. It's good. It's really strong. Capsize, yes. You just got to have it. That's how you can blow out games eventually. There's a lot of land ramps, so if you get a lot of lands late game, people are locking you down with annoying things you can't deal with. There's always the old capsize chain. Cazul's Fury, because, you know, it's a land, and the sack is part of the casting cost, so if you double this, you only sack one thing, but you get twice the damage. Often a game ender, early game, you just drop it as a land, no big deal. Blink of an eye, nice bounce and potentially draw a card, or 2 cards if it's doubled. Prophetic Bolt, nice damage to any target that lets you look at your top 4 and draw a card. Another excellent thing to copy, because you get to go 8 deep on your deck and do a lot of damage at the same time. So most of these spells you're going to be playing at the end of your opponent's turn, or the combat trick, but hopefully you can have Kalamax tapped. If not, they're still okay. Crop Rotation, it gets you a couple lands at instant speed, helps the fixin'. It's amazing. You gotta have it. It's an amazing thing to copy. You still only have to sack 1 land because it's part of the casting cost, even if you copy it. Another nice blue removal, 1 mana Pongify, gotta have it. Starstorm, this thing blows out a lot of people. Being able to just do this on other people's turns and then come to your turn with a nice clear board is amazing. This card is super strong in Commander. Just the tricks you can pull with it. Alright, Beast Within, because of course it's anything. It's permanent removal that you can potentially double. Now, you might notice I'm giving a lot of people 3/3 beasts, which doesn't matter because almost every creature in here can outclass them, so their beasts aren't typically going to be too much of a worry. Salunde Vision, this is really good in here. As you can imagine, if you get to double this, you just get 2 instants off the top of your deck, or off the top 12 of your deck. Otherwise, you just drop it early as a land. Oh, busted. A lot of great new cards. I haven't seen really anything in Kaldheim for this, but there's definitely been a few things from Zendikar Rising. Alright, Hunter's Insight. Yeah, this thing typically draws you around 12 cards. If you double this, you just get 2 procs when it hits. Alright, Seed Time. I've won games with this, or made people concede rather. You just, of course, you save it on your turn. You can only play it on your turn, but there's often someone playing blue that wants to try to do a little trick and bounce your stuff or mess up your turn, because Kalamax goes insane after a few turns of being left alone. So there's often someone's going to butt in and say, oh, I need to counter that, or I need to bounce that. And you just go, Seed Time, I'll take another turn, thank you very much. And it doubles because I have Kalamax or whatever. And you just get a couple extra turns for 2 mana. This card's insane in this deck. I love it. I absolutely love it. Never coming out, I don't think. Inscription of Abundance. This is a really strong card. I don't think it needs any further explanation. It's one of the greatest combat tricks. Can gain you life. Can do all kinds of double fights and stuff. It's crazy. Pulse of Marasa. Now this is a little tricky. It's instant, so I wanted to get an instant recovery like this, but also if you get to double this, it gets you 2 cards from your yard and 12 life, which can really turn a game. EOT, gain 12 life, get these 2 things back, and you know, that sort of thing, and it's pretty strong in here. Comet Storm. Oh my god, you gotta have Comet Storm. This is one of the strongest X spells they've ever printed, and it's instant with multi-kicker, and if you double it, well, it's just game over if no one stops it. Volcanic Offering. This is another really strong instant in group games. It just absolutely devastates someone's board, and if you copy it, oh jeez, you can probably read this thing and just imagine someone playing against this. Imagine playing against this with a Kalamax. Oh my, it wins games on its own. Natural Connection, another nice instant to double search up stuff. Nature's Wreck, because it has Cascade. What an amazing thing to copy. Get 2 Cascades, destroy 2 things. Oh yeah, it's super good with the Cascade theme. Soul's Fire. I really like this because you tend to get a giant elemental at some point in the game with this deck, or a giant creature of some sort. And just having this in your little toolbox instant, ready to double, you can absolutely slap a creature or player. It's often just a kill card, actually, because it makes the creature do the damage. So if you get Kalamax big and double it, you can like double hit somebody for commander damage with this. And I think that's how it works. It deals damage equal to its target creature you control, deals damage equal to its power. So, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that'll be commander damage. Alright, Frantic Search, because why not? Double untapping lands, and you'll see later that we have a lot of lands that tap for 2, so Frantic Search will net us a ton of mana. Even just doubling it alone will net you a bunch of mana, but if you have some of these tap for 2 type lands, it just goes crazy. Turn of the Wild Speaker, big draw or a big pump, you can't go wrong. Doubling this is amazing too. A Braid, you gotta have a Braid, super cheap, nice removal, nice thing to double. Nexus of Fate, another just GG card. If you get to double this, it's 2 turns. It's one of the only instant take an extra turn. Fierce Guardianship. You just gotta have it. You know, you can't not have it in this deck. I honestly don't like counters in this deck because doubling them is no good. If you double a counter, nothing really special happens. You get an extra counter and you counter the spell again, and then your initial one fizzles. But if there's a stack of stuff, it works even better. This is just really just to protect Kalamax because he's such a prime target. Once people get, once people are privy to what your deck's doing, they kill Kalamax pretty quickly if they can. So you gotta have a little protection. Another really nice card with a big X blowout on this side or a little copy over here. Very nice thing to double. Deflecting Swat, another thing to just protect Kalamax. Broken Wings, another strong removal card. Artifacts, enchantments, flyers, and it's often really nice to double because there's going to be at least 2 of artifacts, enchantments, and creatures of flying, so there should be plenty of targets to copy this. Super nice. Urza's Rage, just a game ender. Copy this a couple times, hit people for 20, 30. Actually, just a couple nights ago, I Urza's Raged at the end of someone's turn for 30. And, well, someone still killed me, but it was awesome. This card seems pretty strong. You can always use it for the 3 mana, 3 damage, if nothing else, but it's just a way to kind of end the game as well if it draws out and you get a bunch of mana. Simic Charm, just a super strong card. Another way to protect Kalamax or buff them or bounce. Really, really good card. You gotta have it. 2 mana. Strength of the Chajuro, I think that's how you say it. This card is highly underrated in my opinion. This often wins games on its own. Just the amount you can pump your board, and if you double it and it's instant with, multi-kicker, your creatures get massive with this thing, and you can often just blow out the board if no one's got a wipe. On 1 spot at a time. Just a nice little early game stability or late game double. You can grab a couple things. Super good card. So I know some of these cards are a bit expensive, but basically you want cheap, efficient cards that help you replace your hand and are really nice to double. There's quite a bit of them, even in the common, uncommon slot, so you don't necessarily need to have super expensive cards. That's all the instants in the deck, and you can see it's a sizable chunk of instants. You often have plenty. You usually use some before you get Kalamax out to help you get set up for the board and all that stuff. All right, let's talk about, I guess, the one Planeswalker real quick. The only one that made the cut is Ral, Storm Conduit. He's just really good for the copying, and he can just get you another copy turn after turn if you can manage to protect him. There were a couple other Planeswalkers I thought about adding, but he's the only one that stayed in because he is definitely a proper theme. But other ones I thought about, I'll just talk about real quick. I got them over here. I considered Royal Scions. It's not bad. It can give Kalamax trample for a strike, which he often needs for his attacking. So Royal Scions is not bad. It could go in the deck. Wrenn and 6 could also, because there's a lot of sack your lands and search for more lands type thing. So being able to get them back is super nice. And being able to get your instants with retrace is really good too. So he maybe should be in the deck, but he's not in it right now. These are ones if you probably could put in if you don't have some of the other cards, for example. Xenagos, of course, Xenagos, he's just a bit busted. Hits super hard, makes your elementals swing like bosses. So those are some others. Well, I guess it's not a Planeswalker, but those are some other cards there that could easily make the cut. All right, let's talk about the elementals now. These are all in a random order, by the way. So, well, we got Phylath, pretty self-explanatory. Elemental. Paco, another pretty self-explanatory. I'll just go ahead and reveal that Halberd is in here too. This card alone can blow out games just with the amount of card draw you get and how big he can get in group games. Paco's very strong, very, very, very strong, and he searches up Haldan, or you only need one of them and you get the other. If you get to start playing lands and other people's spells like crazy, it's often just over. Very strong little wombo there. Avenger of Zendikar, self-explanatory. Flamekin Herald, this is a new one. I really like this. Getting this out early. and then being able to play Kalamax is pretty nice. So just a nice little elemental to have to cascade your commander a bunch. Tangled Florahedron, it's nice if you just need to get an ETB proc with the elemental or drop it as a land super early. Pretty nice here for the elemental. Flame, or Soulbright Flamekin. Kind of a weird card, but it can give your big guys trample, which is nice, and it also can just ramp you mana late game. You pay 6, you get 8. Yeah, it's just a really interesting card. I haven't really got to use it that much, but I feel like it has some serious potential in this deck. Maul Drifter. Of course, it's an elemental, draws you cards, you gotta have it. Nyx Bloom Ancient, kind of an expensive one. He actually just got put in here. I'm on the fence about this one because, well, now he's good. There's a lot of X spells and stuff. It's pretty insane. Omnath, Locust of Rage, very, very strong with the landfall and helping you get way ahead. Ethereal Forger to get your instants back and recast them. Nice little 2/2 or 3/3 flyer that's often just 2 mana and nets you a bunch of stuff back potentially. Royal Elemental, another really strong, steal all your stuff with landfall. Pretty self-explanatory. Averna, Chaos Bloom. Now this is kind of iffy. Often I play this and I don't get any cascades, so this might end up finding its way out of the deck. But this is pretty strong when it does happen, as you're just getting extra lands into play. And it's super nice. We'll see if it stays in though. I don't know. I might cut it. All right, Maelstrom Wanderer. Yeah, pretty self-explanatory. Elemental with double cascade and gives all your guys haste. Yeah, yes, please. Very, very strong. Vigor, another pretty self-explanatory. Makes your board almost invincible, so you can just swing out with no worries. Pretty strong. Leafkin Druid, super nice ramp elemental. Super, super nice. Gotta have him. Thrix. Another pretty strong elemental with flash and flying. It makes your stuff cheaper. He's pretty good. I like him. Animar, Soul of Elements, a little busted in this deck. Get him out as early as you can. Start playing your elementals. They get cheaper. He's got protection from white and black. He gets huge. It's very strong in this deck. Ashea, Soul of the Wild. Just getting more landfall triggers for all your creatures that come into play is really good, and this thing is often massive for 5 mana, so I feel like this is pretty strong. And it shuts down all those removal spells that say non-land permanent, because all your permanents are now lands. So Ashaya has some blowout potential there, and not many people play like Armageddon or anything like that in Commander, so not too worried about getting your lands mass wiped, but maybe save a counter if your opponents are playing something like that. Spark Double, because 2 Kalamaxes or 2 Pacos is just insane, or 2 Maelstrom Wonders, or whatever this turns into, just is crazy. Spark Double's really good in here. Risen Reef, because it's busted. It's just busted. Elemental. Omnath, Locust of the Royal, pretty strong in here. Draws your cards, kills stuff, can't go wrong. Multani, Yavamea's Avatar. I like the reach and trample on this thing and the potential recursion and just how large it tends to be. So it's just a nice card to, it's just a big bruiser though, not a whole lot of other utility. So this I don't know about. I might end up coming out, but I like it. It seems okay. But it's just a big boy with no real other abilities. All right, so that's all those. That's all the elementals. Now we're just down to, the one non-elemental creature that doesn't have a partner, Apex Devastator, because 4 cascades. Because 4 cascades. Yeah, if you get to play this, it gets game over. All right, let's talk about the lands. Pretty straightforward. I've got 11 basics here. 12 might be more optimal. Lands need a little work. I'm still working on them a little bit. But yeah, we got some basics. You kind of want to be a little heavy on the green. Make sure you get that early. Maybe a little heavy on the blue. There's a lot of double blue and some red, so you can search these up anytime you want. Let's see what else to talk about. That's pretty important. We got the old Landfall, Field of the Dead. If you can afford it, it goes good in here. Same with Kessig Wolf Run. Nice trample for your elementals, finish games. Moss Warp Bridge, absolutely amazing. If you get like something crazy under here, like, I don't know, Maelstrom Wanderer or something. Yeah, just paying 1 mana, well, essentially 2, because you got to tap this as well. Paying a couple mana for a big spell is, I like Moss Warp Bridge. It's a really nice land. And it's something, once you play the thing under it, if you can manage to bounce it with one of these and replay it, you get more stuff. So it's kind of cool. I know a lot of people don't like Moss Warp Bridge, but I think it's really good here. Reliquary Tower, because you often end up with way more than 7 in your hand with this deck. Ancient Tomb, yes, gold bordered. I got some real ones too, but you know, you gotta have enough for every deck. I don't know. It's decent. You know, it's a nice ramp. I don't have any mana rocks, no soul ring, so we gotta ramp other ways, and this is one of the ways. Yeah, we'll keep those lands there. We got a couple fetchies. You want as many fetches as you can get, and the Myriad, nice. Wooded Foothills, yeah. Vista, Fabled Passage. That's it for now. I actually want 1 or 2 more fetches for this deck. I just haven't got them yet. And we got just a little bit of fixins over here. Now, I tried to pick all lands that come into play untapped for the most part. You know, these ones come into play tapped, but I really like untapped because getting that 3 or 4, turn 3 or 4 without worrying about something coming to play tapped is nice. So just a Mossfire Valley, Stomping Ground, and a Taiga. I know you can't always afford these big lands, but there's a lot of other substitutions for Taiga, like the check lands and stuff that are a lot cheaper, you know, a couple bucks. Alright, and there's these ones. I got a Training Center, Fiery Insolent, and a Steam Vents. And of the blue, I need to change some of these blue ones. I got the Grove, Coast, and Flooded Grove. 2 groves, okay. Waterlogged Grove and a Flooded Grove, which is essentially the same thing, but, you know, this one's a filter land, so it's not true fixing, which can screw you sometimes, but also can help you. So, yeah, still, like I said, I'm still sorting out the lands a little bit, but they're decent enough for now. We got the Triumph, nice to search up with a fetch. The Bivouac, one of the best first turn drops. Command Tower, because why not? It's amazing. Path of Ancestry, because we're playing elementals, so you often just get to scry when you play one. And bouncing your lands and replaying them with landfalls, super good, or bouncing your utility lands, super good, or getting to untap these. You know, these are nice to have. You want at least 1 or 2 of these, in my opinion, but not too many, because they can often just set you back too far. And that's the deck. Thanks for watching my deck tech on Kalamax. Let me know if you have any questions below. If this gets 20 likes, I'll post the deck list down below. Also, this is an evolving deck, so it'll probably be different in a couple weeks. Sorry about the shadow. See my camera's shadow. All right, Matt from MTG Ownage over and out. Thanks for watching, guys. Hope you enjoyed. Have a good week.